Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the SHEDcast.
Well, I'm here, Marco. I'm here.
Excellent.
Well, that means two of us.
Yeah, excellent. Oh dear. It's been one of those days getting ready for the SHEDcast. Nothing has gone according to plan, but we're here, and you can't stop it. So,
well, I'm not there. I'm here.
That explains a lot.
I have got a friend with me, by the way.
Hello, friend.
That's friend Bob from round the corner. Another shedder.
Hello, Bob.
He makes walking sticks.
Excellent. Yes, you've mentioned Bob before now. So, excellent. Well, I hope he's going to sort of dash off and get a few that we can have a look at later.
He has later, not now.
Oh, splendid.
He's got some nice ones. He's got some nice ones.
Keep him calm. Keep him calm.
Keep him calm.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, it's lovely to see you again, Graham. Last time we spoke, there was that Aussie fellow around, and that was just whole heaps of fun, wasn't it?
It was. He still is fun. I mean, it's still fun in Australia. They've still got the COVID popping up in different places. Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Not nice.
We have. No. You're clear in Guernsey, I believe.
We are. I saw an email that came through earlier. We are, I think, 61 days with no known active cases, which is brilliant, really exciting. But what I'm hearing on the news for various places around the world is that lots of places are kind of assuming that they're also clear and going back to normal. I see in Leicester that they've had. I caught when I was passing my mum and dad yesterday. They had the news on and they was talking about Leicester, and the bloke was reporting from the middle of Leicester saying we're going back on the lockdown, but there's just people walking around, no masks, just loads of people walking around the centre of town.
Because the government has not made masks mandatory, and it's really not official advice. Only in places where you are in closer contact. So,
what can you do, eh?
What can you do?
Yeah. Well, them that know, and they can jolly well do. But yeah, how do you persuade everybody else? It's very
I've
difficult.
actually got some face masks here.
Ooh.
These have been made by one of our women shedders who lived until recently in Redcar, which is just above Whitby, which is where I am. But she's moving even further north, actually. And she's made some of these lovely ones. She's been making lots of scrubs for hospitals.
Great.
Yeah. But she made these. This is a feminine version.
Nice.
See, it's the lovely colours. And then there's various others. This one's for people with very small ears, I think. So, yeah.
There was a very funny picture
covering
posted on the UK Men's Shed Facebook page yesterday. The back of someone's head with one of those, the elastic going around the front of the ears and the mask on the back, saying, and now that we're coming out of COVID, we've got to put our masks on this way around just to pull our ears back onto the sides of our heads again.
Oh, dear.
Fully chuckled. Now, in the background, I can see that we've got Jordan joining us. So let me bump Jordan.
Oh, good.
Right, guys?
Jordan!
Right?
Yeah, just about. Yo. How you doing?
Hello, Jordan.
I'm doing all right. I was having some trouble with the mic on the computer, so I had to set up the phone instead.
Okay, well done. Thank you.
It is what it is.
Yeah, we were just talking about how hectic this has all been, and we're just putting stuff together. And in fact, while Graham was talking a moment ago, I was still loading in the running order, so it's all jolly exciting. But we're here.
He juggles as well.
There, Graham?
Very well,
Graham?
thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. It really is. And you're down in Kent, is that right?
Yeah, that's where I'm residing at the moment. I live in Ramsgate, if you know.
Yeah. I used to holiday there as a kid.
Fair.
Fabulous. Let's have a look at
you. You're in Guernsey?
Yes, yes,
Are you
yes.
in the Guernsey?
Yeah,
Can
I'm.
you hear me right? Should I take this headset off and just use the mic?
It's a little bit quiet, but it's okay. We can hear you if I just shut up for a second.
Okay.
Let's bump up the running order. Let's just have a look. What I'm proposing this afternoon, I haven't cleared this with you, is that we'll have Graham and Jordan in both from the start, and we'll talk about the whole concept of young people in sheds, because very often we talk about men's sheds and sometimes community sheds or lady sheds or she sheds. But the primary focus has historically been towards older people, usually retired people, to the point that some sheds put on their website, over 55s only or whatever, retirees only. I can understand that. But I think all three of us would recognize and agree that there is a very important role for young people to get involved in sheds. So we'll talk about that for a bit. Graham's got a youth shed running up in Whitby. So we'll have a look at some pictures from that. And Jordan has been working on setting up some sheds in Kent. So we'll have a look at a video that he's just sent in on that. And then we'll PKO. We'll put kettle on and we'll have a tea and wee, just have a little break. And then we'll come back because you've got to, haven't you? And then we'll come back and we'll be hearing from Graham about a restorative practice mobile shed. That's a mouthful. Restorative practice related to
justice.
Related to restorative justice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we'll explain it.
And a mobile shed that's been set up in, I believe, North Yorkshire. So we'll be getting to that. Yes. Let's turn that off now. Then, that's better. Super. Graham, could you just give us the brief background as to how you've come to have a youth shed in Whitby, and then we'll flip over to Jordan, and Jordan can fill us in on some of his background with youth and shed activity. Is that all right?
Yes.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
Thank you.
And if you want to interrupt me, Jordan, it's quite permissible. It's that sort of show.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. See how it goes.
Yeah. Well, how did I get into it? I guess it's because we've been forever getting into new things. So we were the first, really almost one of the first women's sheds we had in the UK, in Whitby. It was the second shed we had. First shed was in a very rural place called Littlebeck. So we got into women's sheds, and that's sort of unusual. If you've never experienced a women's shed, let me tell you, that is unusual. Very fun. Having done that sort of thing, we've carried on and we've done more sheds in other places up here. So we've got a run of small sheds up here. But at the same time, I've got grandchildren growing up, and in my history, I've done things with young people, children, but not for many years. But the one thing that really came home to me moving up here from the south of England, so I was Buckinghamshire, not Kent, but down that way, is I wanted kids up here to have similar exposure to the sorts of things, the sorts of jobs that there are that you wouldn't normally find in a place like Whitby. Fish and chips, B&B, not much industry immediately in the area. And so I was very keen that we should do something with young people. In my day and Marcel's day, I think, we had something called work experience. Did you, Marcel?
That was in my day.
Yes, right. Question. Yes. Did
you have it, Jordan?
Yeah, I did some work experience as well.
Yeah, from school sort of thing.
Yeah, 15 years old I was.
Exactly. Well, so I had this great idea because I've made a canoe, or my son had made a canoe, in a week in a group, and I thought, this is fantastic. We ought to do this with young people. And I had the idea of having simulated work experience. So, get kids together for a week to do something. And when I went to a school with it, and it's hard to get into schools, I learned that this had been discontinued. No longer is there work experience. And I think it's a great pity. It wasn't ruled illegal to do. It just made non-statutory, so schools didn't have to do it. With all the limited funding, you can imagine that the majority of schools stopped it, other than for what you might call extreme cases. I think the beauty of work experience was all kids did it, as far as I'm aware, if they could. So it was really, I looked at that, worked up some ideas, and that went flat. But I never did forget it. And I had contact from the UK Men's Shed Association from a predecessor of a lady called Kate Gordon, who's there now. And they'd had contact. I asked them, what do you do with young people? And they'd just had contact from an organisation called Volunteer It Yourself, VIY, Volunteer It Yourself. And they offered to come up north out of London. I think they operate in Manchester as well, but come over and ran a couple of workshops, and I'll show you some pictures of those. This was for older secondary school age youngsters, and they were extremely successful. And arising out of that, we started looking at activities for young people generally, and we started something called Kids Making Good, which were workshops. And you'll see examples of these workshops, so I'm not going to spoil it for you by telling you. Here we are. I'll talk through this.
I'm catching up.
Kids Making Good, so it's workshops. It's not in school time. It's in the holiday periods, but we also did some on Saturdays and non-school days. And the whole idea was, at the top there, learning by doing. The problem with a lot of children these days is they're too good with their hands on their mobiles and playing games, but they really don't get, their hands into tools and making things so much. And so I wanted something. Sorry?
I feel that a lot. I'm with you in that. Everyone's on their phones, but no one's really doing anything.
Absolutely. And so we started this Kids Making Good. I got a little bit of money from, I think it probably was one way or the other, through North Yorkshire County Council. We've been blessed by them over the years in different things. And we ran that until lockdown. Working with the Scouts. This is the other thing, with the Scouts. We knew a Scout lady because one of our sheds is in a Scout hall. So we got to know those Scouts, and we ran with Janine. She was the mastermind behind a lot of the stuff, particularly for girls. So we did Kids Making Good. And then this was for almost any kids for anywhere, not just Whitby Town, although predominantly they came from there and from my own village here in Slights. But I wanted to have a youth club. They were the workshops, Kids Making Good workshops were, let's say, half term, and there might be 2 or 3 of them. But I wanted something weekly, such as I remember as a kid, but it was youth club in those days. I decided to try Youth Shed to see if we could get the kids doing practical things. And so that's how I got into it. Did you want to, are you going through the slides at all?
Well, let's pause there. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Good place to stop. Let's pause there. Let's just hear from Jordan what your history has been. And that sort of just sets the scene for almost everyone involved.
Okay.
Just not me.
So a lot of the things that you was mentioning is a lot of the things that I used to do. So I did go to a youth club every Friday night for at least a year, I think it was. and also did scouts for about maybe 5 years. So I enjoyed that. And what I see Shed Project is just like a scout group, but not so much a scout sort of thing, but our own. But it's like the same sort of get together community thing and learning and stuff. But the scouts are just for the younger people, right? And then the Shed Project's for older people, right? So it's set out in stone at the moment. But I want them all to connect together because the younger people can learn a lot from the older people, and the older people can learn a lot from the younger people. And it's just, it doesn't make any sense not to, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. Sorry, I don't have anything to say at the moment.
No, that's fine. Well, I totally agree.
Jordan, how old are you, Jordan?
I'm 25.
Right. Well, I'm nearly 75, and the other man is, how old are you?
My connection's breaking up. 47.
47. I thought do you know, I had in my mind, I nearly said 50, because it's 25, 75, 50. So you've got all the ages there, Jordan. And I would agree with you. I really would agree. And when we do some of the work with the young kids, particularly in the Kids Making Good workshops, it's older people working with them. And they show great respect and interest. The local schools can't directly support, but kids do come from those schools, and they are supportive as far as they can be. We ideally would like to connect into the schools a little bit, but I
like
fully agree.
There being a men's shed in the school shed, that there's that crossover.
It would be lovely to do that sort of thing. There are after school activities, I think, that the schools are not doing, of course, but would normally have done. And there might be, an evening with a bit of football and things like that, activities. I think gardening is something they do at the local school here, but various things, which is really good. But I wanted something where different kids could mix and different ages. So same thing as you, Jordan. I didn't want it to be only for younger ones, although it predominantly is. But, when you get slightly older, 12-year-old, 13-year-old, it's interesting to see the way they react, and they start to help the younger ones. So and of course, we need people to help on this because there's only so many hours in the day, and we try to get parents involved if we can. So, this is always the problem of where do you get people from to actually help in that situation? Because certainly younger kids, you got to watch not only safeguarding, but safety.
Yeah.
So we do put them at risk at times. I couldn't find any photos. I explained this to Marcel of the riskier stuff. But we've had kids very carefully using a chop saw, And for any parents listening, very carefully. And when you tell them it's risky and get them to think through for themselves why it's risky, it's when it sinks in and they don't play around. So
the risks are the same for adults, and often actually it's the adults that are riskier because we get complacent with tools, and that's when an accident happens. But actually, what I've seen is that with kids and tools, there is an extended period of fear about the tool, and they treat it with greater respect. So it can be done and can be done safely. I'm an avid fan of an alternative school in California called Brightworks, and the guy behind it, Gave a Tully, bit of a hero of mine, started out running tinkering schools in the summer holidays, that sort of thing, and they would put tools in the hands of kids. And on their first one, which was probably about 10 years ago now, they built a roller coaster down his sloping garden. And it didn't have loops and stuff, but it just sort of horseshoe down this ramp, and the kids built it themselves, and they've built boats out of bits of plywood and polythene.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous because is it going to float? Is it going to sink? And they put a sail on it, and absolutely brilliant. But they're using real power tools, properly supervised, but it's them that's doing it. And I've seen that with my JP. A few years ago, I think we had last week's show when I was talking about the Guernsey shed. There's a few photographs of him operating a chop saw. Always time to get up. Great. Few photographs of JP using a chop saw carefully, not just let to go run wild. But there's that fear, and he'll handle it very carefully when there's that sense of respect for it.
I would agree. Yeah, I mean, I've got two grandsons, 9 and 10, and they both use a lathe we had at the first shed.
Cool.
And when we replaced it, that went to my son, and the kids do it. In fact, they made it, the oldest one of the two, the 10-year-old, probably got it wrong, he's probably 11 now. He made a present for the teacher. Not that he's been at school much, but
Sweet.
Made a present. What did he do? They obviously assisted with my son, basically a log, and turned it into a lovely little mushroom.
Sweet.
Which you sometimes see being done. That sort of thing, I think, gives tremendous esteem to kids.
Yeah, without a doubt. The other time for young people to meet with older folks, sort of on a level playing field, which I think is that's important. The environment is important, and that we're not older than you, so we're better than you. Kind of demands, I don't know, sort of an authority figure, just a mutual respect. Is young people who've grown up with perhaps an absent father for whatever reason.
Yes.
And having those role models in older guys at the sheds is so valuable. So not just on the tools, drawing on the experience of guys who've been doing this for decades, but just in life skills and manner, all that stuff. And it's stuff that you don't actually teach. You just model it through normal everyday life.
Well, I'm not going to let the guy in to talk about it, but Bob here, if you wanted to later on, I suppose we could touch on his life story. But Bob is somebody that much appreciates a man in his youth who took an interest in him and encouraged him, And we all need to do that. And that's why I'm keen to do it here, where I haven't got grandchildren immediately here. 2 of them are in Australia. But what I can do is I can help kids here.
Yeah.
And I hope then that other people are helping kids, my grandkids where they are. And they're in Scouts, Jordan.
Yeah, excellent.
I think Scouts is a wonderful movement. Yeah.
I was a Scout 2 years longer than I should have been. I should have moved up to Explorers or something, but
cool.
Scouts was too fun, and me and all my friends, we just stayed in Scouts. We didn't move up. But once that was over, I missed it a lot.
Yeah.
When the Shed project came about, when I heard about it, I was like, is this like a mini Scouts thing or something?
Yeah.
So I was well interested in it.
That's excellent.
Right, I don't know what your plan is, Marcel, of action, but I could tell you a story of how the Nature Shed project came about.
That would be great. Yeah, thank you.
You're all right. You ready? Okay, so I came over to Ramsgate due to some unfortunate circumstances. I won't go into it too much, but I came up here, spent 4 months inside the house, didn't leave, and then one day I decided to leave. And the person I got chatting to said he works or he's a trustee at the nature reserve. So I was like, okay. But I wasn't really that interested, but I was interested in doing something because I've been sitting around doing nothing for 4 months. So it sounded really appealing, actually. So I was like, all right then, reluctantly, I will come. So I came along, and then to my own surprise, I actually really enjoyed it there. There's a nature reserve, perfect place for me. And then I volunteered for a month. And then the first meeting that I got involved in, they said, we're thinking about doing a shed project. And that's the first time I ever learned about a shed project, was that meeting. And I was the newest volunteer. So I was just like, they was like, come into the meeting, see how it's run. I was like, okay. So I was just coming in to observe, really. I wasn't getting involved. But everyone loved the idea of the shed project. But no one actually put their foot forward to do anything about it. So after a month of me volunteering, not really finding a spot either, I decided that I wanted to run it. But I had my own agenda to the shed project. So they wanted a shed project for the older men only. Well, that's how it was pitched in the meeting. But I decided that I was a young person, but this shed project, I wasn't going to run the shed project for the older people and not have younger people like me and all the people around me not involved. That would be, it wouldn't be a pointless exercise, but it wouldn't be efficient to me.
Yeah.
So I said, like, all right, let's get young people in. Let's do both genders as well. So I started doing that. I started advertising. There was big demand for it. I was surprised. I didn't advertise much, but there was a big demand for it still.
Good.
And I think on my open day, I had 10 people come in to have a look and see what it's all about. All 10 of them signed up, and 9 of them, they came along to at least one of the shed project days that I was running. And the other person that didn't show up, he was just visiting a friend and came to the meeting, but he didn't live anywhere nearby. So with that, I realized that it's just in high demand. And there was older men there, younger men, there was women there. So I asked them, I was like, why do you want a shed project? And the older men, I said to the older guys, what do you think about having the younger guys in? And one of them said to me, he said, Jordan, I don't have any grandkids, or I don't have kids. I have these skills. I have carpentry or mechanics or something. I can't remember what his skill was. But he said before he dies, he would love to pass on his knowledge to another person. Yeah. So I thought, wicked, man, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I need to get older people, young people, and then the girls that will come in. And he said, we don't want to be the typical, I don't know, woman, housewife sort of thing. I want to change your life. I want to build a table. I want to do this. I want to learn that. I want to learn carpentry or something.
Great.
I'm like, okay, so you want to learn that skill. This person wants to pass on that exact same skill. Okay, let's get you two in together. So that was my plan. So I think Marcel, I sent you a picture of our site, and there's a shed and a wooden whatever. If you can find it, send it up, because that was our little spot, our area.
I'll have a look. How did you send it to me?
Small all of them through Google.
Through the photos. Okay, I'll just reload this and see. No, I've not got anything else in there. I've only got the video of. Is it your Nan's
You've only got one video.
I got 2 videos, but I've added one into the folder at the moment, and that's of your. Okay. Is it your Nan's shed? Yeah,
that's my Nan's. I sent you, I don't know, about 70 photos, so there should be somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
I had similar problems, Jordan.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Before you came on, we spent 10 minutes. Yeah, I couldn't edit. I could only add. I could never delete. Could never rearrange. So don't worry.
I'll do a search and see in the background. You carry on, lad.
Whilst you're doing that search, I'll just say what's interesting is you would say young people, sort of 18, 19, 20, young adults. Yeah? Or is that so, Jordan? Yeah. Very interesting.
At the nature though.
Sorry?
That was the biggest. There was loads of things that I was trying to appeal to. So at the nature reserve itself, the main customer base for the nature reserve was mothers and their children, and they would come in and we wanted to get away from society or whatever, and wanted to walk around and enjoy time with their kids. But that's what they did. They had a cafe, they did some drawing, but I wanted to open it up so we'd have like a day where we would do mothers and kids would come in and do some stuff like creative, nature orientated, whatever they fancied, really.
Yeah. But the shed the actual shed you were looking at, that was going to have all ages from people of, let's say, 20 all the way through to 90, men and women.
I was looking at kids as well.
Well, yeah, okay. Yeah. Because, I mean, really, as you'll see, we've gone for some quite young ones, you know, from 8 years up. So it's a different kettle of fish. You know.
I had some young kids. They were chatting to me about it. They were like, "Oh, I want to get involved in shed project. I want to build this. I want to build that." But I never actually got the kids involved. I didn't have the I just wasn't confident enough to work with kids.
And you're very right. You have to take it fairly carefully with children and young people, but it's very important to them, nevertheless.
I wanted first. The biggest thing for me was we needed to get a workshop first, an actual place to operate from. So I got this big demand of all sorts of people from all sorts of different backgrounds, but I didn't have a place to really put them or to operate from. We had an outside area, which was overall we had 10 meters by 13 meters of space allocated to us from the reserve. And quite a lot of it had loads of shrubs and whatever, so we had to clear all that first. I never got around to doing that bit, but we had a little shed, like a little office. What was it, 2 by 3 or something? Not too bad. But we couldn't work in it. I could write some paperwork in there and have a chat with someone and have a cup of tea, but that was about it. All of our work was done outside. So if it was raining, we would just chill in the cafe and not do much or whatever, to have a chat. But when it wasn't raining, we would get on with some projects and try and build some stuff there. But at the reserve, they had loads of things. They had loads of benches to restore, loads of fences.
Yeah.
So there was endless work there for people to do if they wanted to do community-based projects. But you can just do it right there in the reserve. Wow.
That's good. It's really cool. In the background, I've just been trying to find those pictures. Jordan, for some reason, I don't see them. They haven't come through. I've just got... sorry, I don't know where they'd have gone.
That's all right. I guess...
if you find them, ultimately, Marcel, get them. You can add them at the end of the program, can't you, or something? Or
we'll find somewhere doing it.
Yeah, make them public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see what we can do. What I do have is just that video of your Nan's shed. Do you want to show us that?
Yeah, is it the one that's finished?
Yeah.
It must be. That's the only video. Go on, show us that, because me and some of the other shedders worked on that one. It wasn't quite the shed project, but it was what we wanted to do anyway. So we had the opportunity to do it at my Nan's. She bought a shed and she wanted someone to put it up, so
nice.
We got together and did it. Really.
Yeah.
Let me just get that lined up. Clunk, click.
I think this is the end.
Here's your Nan's shed.
Wow, it's a smart shed.
Yeah.
For me.
I'll say.
And I'll take you on a tour. So as we enter across the threshold, we come to my sewing table. This is where my brother machine will sit, and I will sew what I call ordinary on that one.
Okay.
These are boxes of bits and bobs and my rolls.
Nice.
This one was made by Anne Coltman.
That's lovely.
Sewing Buddy. This one was made by Tina Parker. This one was made by Tina Parker. And this quilt, my very dear friend who died last year, Pat Sullivan, she entered that into the quilt show, which I thought was lovely, and then gave it to me. These are all full of material plus finished quilts. So I know all my quilts are together and all my material is spread in all the baskets all the way around. This is my sewing table for my Janome. Not quite sure how you pronounce that. Anyway, that is my quilting machine. I have 2 cork boards ready for patterns if I get the mood upon me, and a chair to sit my bum in.
This is what I do it for.
Brilliant.
Look at her face. This is
Where's the kettle?
Cool. How do you feel, Grandma?
I feel fine. I feel absolutely fine. I'm chuffed to bits. Really, really chuffed.
Good.
It's lovely.
I'm really glad you enjoy it, you know.
Sorry?
I can see in your face that you really like this place, so.
Yeah.
Here's to a lot of adventures, right?
Yes, a lot of quilts to be made, Christmas presents made, birthday presents made, new baby cot blankets and quilts to be made. I don't care that there's a coronavirus lockdown. I'm happy. Whoa!
Hey!
We just finished that shed. We just finished that workshop before the coronavirus hit. So once we got everything in there, she was like, "Yes, I can do some stuff. I don't have to go out. I can just stay here."
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Can we? Can you send her up here? Lovely.
Where are you?
Whitby.
Where are you, Graham?
Whitby in the North Yorkshire.
Okay, that's far away.
Fairly. Probably, I don't know what it is from Kent. Probably 300.
But you see her face, that smile, and act of, she was like, "I'm going to give back. Like, I want to do some extra quilts for people, Christmas presents and stuff." That's what I do it for. I don't. That smile on the face, that was worth it. I don't care if I spent 9 months doing it. That smile on the face was just worth it.
Good job.
You're into sheds. You are into sheds. Wonderful doing that.
Yeah, brilliant. We've got Dan in the background just saying, "Oh dear, Marcel, Photogate." #Photogate, obviously. Missing photographs. And then making a comment about me doing an impression of the shopkeeper from Mr. Ben today, because I keep popping in and out. Yeah, that's Jordan's Before Your Time. Is a TV program called Mr. Ben. Look it up on YouTube. It's iconic for people of my generation. I mean, it's awful, but it's iconic.
Oh,
I mean, by today's standards.
Like a TV episode.
Yeah, Mr. Ben, have a look at that. I highly recommend it. Trip down memory lane for me.
Give it a check out.
And then, and Jordan's grandma is very cool, and a #Quilter2 Ace.
All right, I'll tell
right
her.
on.
I don't know if she's watching in the other room.
I just got
that'd be cool. Yeah, you take that call. That's fine, Graham. Cool.
There was something else, Marcel.
Yeah.
While I was at the while I was trying to understand how I wanted the Nature Shed project to run most efficiently, I came across, actually my grandma was on the committee for eKids, which is a dementia group, a dementia support group, a charity as well. So one of the things that I was trying to do was, have you ever heard of the Carers Innovation Trust?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay, they were offering out $500,000 to 20 charities in its location. If you can find a way to help carers. So I had this idea. My grandma, she's an unpaid carer for her husband who's got dementia.
Mm-hmm.
And she's also on the committee for eKids. And they go to coffee mornings and they just sit there and chat. But the thing is, the coffee mornings is for the person with dementia to chat with other people with dementia for that social interaction. But for the carers, they don't get a break. Still, they're still in that room chatting to all the people with dementias. They don't get that break that they're actually searching for. So what I was trying to implement at the nature reserve was they had the coffee mornings at the nature reserve in the cafe that was there already. E-Kids brought their carers, their trained carers, to look after the dementia patients, while the carers, the unpaid carers who accompanied them there, they can go take a walk around the reserve, or they could get involved in the shed project.
Sweet.
And
That's
we could
lovely.
set up a day. We could set up a day where it's for the carers. So it would be like dementia group in the CAF, carers in the shed project. They're not too far. There's one way in and out of the reserve, so no one can get lost, right? It was perfect. So that's what I was trying to do there as well.
That's a nice integration. I like that sort of thing. Graham is back.
I wanted to
I'm back.
I can see you nodding profusely. I know you totally right.
Everything you're saying, Jordan, is wonderful to my ears. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Do you need any help, Jordan? There we are. Do you need some help?
What do you need?
I don't run the shed project anymore. I came up against some. What's the word? Is the word alterations? Is that the word that I'm looking for?
Maybe.
Probably.
Something like that.
Would you like to do a shed again?
Hell yeah. I have big plans for shed projects in my future. I've got some ideas, of how I want my future to be. It's not the typical go to work, go home sort of thing. It's crazy, but I want the shed project to be a part of my life and part of my future anyway. So I really enjoy doing it. I get a lot out of it. I learn a lot. So, and I don't put much effort into it. I don't wake up and feel like, shed project. It's like, boom, I'm getting up, shed project, That's how I feel about it.
That's how it should be.
And also when I go to work, it's like, I'm going to work.
There's a great saying. I don't know if you've heard of it before. If you find something you love and you can do that and get paid to do it, then you'll never work another day in your life, because you'll just be doing what you love. It's not work. It's just absolutely doing what you love, and you've clearly got a passion for it. That's,
if you wanted to think a little bit more on it and what you want to do, I'd be very happy to chat with you. Marcel's nodding his head. He shouldn't do that because he's probably quite happy to chat with you as well. But actually, the UK Men's Shed Association, I'm sure that they would be very willing to help. Nobody's magic, but you don't want to be on your own in these things. You are.
Really, are you in contact with Active Mob or
with
Men's Kent? What was it? Men's Shed Association?
Yes.
I'm involved with Active Mob, who are involved with that.
Yeah, it's good.
Not directly, but indirectly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it'd be worth you having conversations with other sheds in Kent. I don't know if there's a shed network in Kent that's emerging.
There is. I'm part of it.
Cool. Okay, cool.
So we're really talking to the main guys from each shed and others who are going to get involved as well. So I'm not always on the call. But
good
when
for
I
you.
am, there's at least 10 people every time chatting
Brilliant.
about that's at least 8 sheds or something.
Yeah. Super.
Well, just don't lose your passion, Jordan, for it.
No, I'm not going to lose that.
It's doing a lot for me at my age. It really is. So if you're allowed to travel in the end, if we can meet, I'd love to have you up here for a few days.
Yeah, that'd be wicked.
If you want a holiday in Whitby,
come to sunny Whitby.
I'll bring my grandma as well. How about it?
Sorry?
Shall I bring my grandma?
Yeah.
Shall I bring my grandma?
Actually, look, I'm rash. I do stupid things. I'm like you, Jordan.
Okay.
The thing is, I like very much your grandmother. She's got a lot of she's got a lot on her plate by being a carer, we in our sheds work quite a bit with several carers. Their husbands come, and they get left with us, and we do whatever we can with them. So a couple of them will play dominoes, and they know exactly how many sixes have been laid. But it's wonderful to be able to support families. Really, you're supporting families, and that's brilliant. So I think what your grandma's doing, I'm interested in this e-kids and things like that. You know, it's just like sheds, really. It's helping in the community.
Yeah. We should all work together.
Excuse me. Message in from Mark Croft, who's watching on Facebook. Hi, Mark. Thanks for joining us. He says, "Hi, Jordan. How do we get in touch with that carers funding for the shed project?"
If you was to type in Carers Innovation Trust on Google, it will come up. I think they do one every year, from what I can remember. But the close-off date was September, I think. I can't remember.
Okay. Yeah, well, they'll have other rounds of funding, I'm sure. So, Mark, take a look at Carers Innovation Trust. Do a search for that and see what you can come up with.
I think they had 500,000 up for grabs for about 20 charities.
Excellent. Yeah, it sounds amazing.
What they wanted to do was, on the criteria, was they preferred to have, was it grassroots or startup charity? They wanted to start from the beginning with a charity, not get involved halfway through. They wanted to start a charity, get it up and running. Carers Innovation Trust, and they had enough. They could offer enough money to get yourself sorted and start up. And if they decided that your charity was really good, they'd pump in some more money. That's what the criteria. That's what the description of it was saying.
That sounds good. Sort of a microfinance thing. I like that.
I think I requested about 55,000 for what I was after.
Sure.
10,000 to get the first shed, and then after the first shed was built, then they can have a look. They can assess to see what the situation is, see what the impacts are from what their first 10,000 donation was, and then they can offer the rest to the charity.
Good.
Or the 55,000 that I was asking for, or something like that. But yeah, this Carers Innovation Trust. That's if you can get that one, you wouldn't have to look anywhere else.
Okay, it's a good starting point, isn't it? Yeah. Mark is simultaneously messaging me on Facebook Messenger. It's not so complicated. And I'll read the second message that he sent me. I can't smell. My smelling very bad. So, yes, your smelling is not perfect, Mark, but that's okay. He says, "Hi, we at Bromsgrove Shed are looking for revenue from other organisations. We get all our funding from Age Concern, HW. Not sure what the HW means. So what Jordan was talking about sounds very interesting about dementia, which could fit in well with our shedders. So what you're saying, is. Oh, Mark is just saying, my smelling very bad, so we'll look it up later for that funding carers thing. Yeah, good. Okay.
I'll look at my paperwork and find it. Actually, I'll just look at my paperwork and find it somewhere about. Then I can send over. I'll send it to you, Marcel. You can pass it on to Mark.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And Dan also on YouTube here, it said, it would be great to hear Jordan's problems that he experienced running the shed. It's a recognised challenge, after all, that whole running the shed. No names, obviously. Obviously, no names. But can you share some of the difficulties that you experienced there, Jordan? But don't feel under pressure.
Okay, I don't feel under pressure. I just got to figure out what I'm going to say. Okay,
can I say that?
Go ahead, Graham.
Say something
Well, what I was going to do was, just whilst you're thinking, just to say, if you, and it sounds like you did hit a few problems, don't worry. That's what I did as well.
I'm not worried about speaking
sheds
about
don't
problems.
happen easily.
Yeah, I want people to be aware that this could happen, and if someone can watch this video, realize what I went through and how it failed, then someone can say like, oh look, we can see the signs, or have that awareness sort of thing. So I think for everyone to understand, really, they're gonna have to learn most of the story. So I guess at the start of the story, there was a big demand. I didn't know what to do, like, sort of thing. What I was looking for was, all right, so the trustees at the reserve, they wanted a shed project and they wanted it now, sort of thing. But for me, I wanted a shed project, but I didn't want it exactly now, but I wanted it to be good. I wanted the foundations of it to be solid for the future. So that's what I was mainly focused on, rather than, I think the trustees or the nature reserve, they wanted this shed project to be there so they can say, look, we've got a shed project, look at us, sort of thing. And that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to just say, look at me and our shed project. I wanted to be like, look, we've got a shed project, we can offer all of this, sort of thing. But I wanted to be ready. I wanted to have that, I wanted to be ready to share what we were supposed to be doing before we said, look at us. And otherwise there's nothing really to look at. It's just a shed or some ego or whatever. So
yeah,
I had ideas of having 2 workshops. One workshop for the woodworking and stuff, and then one as just a community room where we could do art, we can sit and chat, maybe even get a talker in, just whatever really. And then the other one was just the woodworking and labor, just do whatever projects. I wanted them next to each other. So, but there was a bit of a conflict about what I was saying and what the trustees wanted me to do. So they wanted a shipping container, and they wanted the shed project in the shipping container, which I don't blame them for wanting that idea. It's a good idea, but I was thinking more of the bigger picture, the future.
Sorry. Road.
Where was that?
Right.
Is that with you?
That was me. Motorbike. Oh.
So yeah, that was just a big conflict of how we wanted the shed project to run. The trustees said that they wanted the volunteers to run it and they didn't want to get involved. But it turns out that once I started making some noise and I got some money come through, and there was like loads of councillors coming over to see me and talk about the project, and they were offering X amount of money or services and stuff like that. So I was telling all of these people my vision of the shed project, but while I wasn't there, they had their own vision of the shed project. So I was telling people something that that wasn't going to exist. So in the end, I just said, I've had enough, I'm leaving. And when I left, a lot of people left with me.
It's a shame.
That's it. All right.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, people, eh? People.
I think it was a lot to do with ego. There was a lot of conflict between the reserve and the local council. And the local council wanted a shed project. They've been trying to do that for 3 years. They wasn't able to do it. So when the reserve set up, I was able to set up the shed project and actually get it running, and people were coming. Some of the trustees at the reserve was like, haha, we've got a shed project, haha, what about you? And that was a big, like, I don't know, it just didn't really make any sense to me. It should have been like, we've got a shed project, why don't you get involved, sort of thing, not, haha, we've got one, what about you?
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And I just thought, I don't know, man.
Sometimes
It
people
wasn't working for me.
come bring their
that
egos
I
and
was
everything to
doing-
it.
Everything that I was doing for the Shed project was to promote happiness and well-being. But for me, I was feeling really run down. I was feeling the opposite of what Shed project should be doing. So, and I was the one running it, and so lead by example as well. I don't want to be leading, but being depressed and shit. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say that. But I didn't want to be feeling the things that I was feeling when I was trying to promote the opposite. It didn't make any sense to me, so I left, and I didn't get any contact from anyone after.
Yeah, that's tough.
And as far as I'm aware, there's only a fragment of the dream of the Nature Shed project. It's only I think they've got a shipping container down there now, but I think there's only one member other than the trustees that are doing it, which is very
one of the
it wasn't worth my time.
One of the problems that I have.
Room to grow.
One of the problems I have, Jordan, is that when I talk to people, they really don't have an idea of what a shed's about, because it's not just the woodwork making, doing. It is exactly the other things that you said, the ability just to sit around and talk and become close friendships. Very good, as you've said, for well-being and mental health. And that's really what a shed is. It's not about making lovely items. It's about the spirit that there is within the shed. That's good.
Yeah,
it's very good.
Dan just chips in from YouTube. Understood, Jordan. You totally get it, mate. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah. I think I don't know if I can offer advice. My only thoughts are gather some other people that you trust and respect around you. It's running a shed and establishing a shed from one person is a very tall order. So my only thoughts are gathering people around you who agree. That's vital. You've got to agree what it is that you're trying to build and why, so that you're all moving in the same direction. I'm part of a group called Makerspace in the Guernsey, and we're co-located with Men's Shed. We've been sort of trying to set a makerspace up for about 8 years, and it's only as Men's Shed came on the table 3 and a bit years ago that we actually got premises and we're making moves forward, but actually Makerspace is still not open yet because we're focused on getting the shed up and running, and there's other bits of infrastructure that we need to set up as Makerspace before we can open our doors properly to the public. So I only say that just as an encouragement that these things don't always, they can do happen, but they don't always happen overnight. But vitally, getting the right people alongside you and with you will serve you in the long term.
That's the one thing that I was really missing. I was really searching for that. And I was, the time period that I started was about 9 months. Started volunteering in January, heard about it in February, started to run it in March, opened it up public in April, done loads of stuff, and then it was about July where it started to go downhill, and then in November I think that was the end, or September, somewhere around that time, I just said I've had enough.
Yeah.
So it took 9 months to get to that point, and from the moment I started to the moment that I left, we only had a shed that was 2x3, and we also, but I had over 50 members or something like that. Over 100 people signed up on the waiting list, and I had 10 regular people.
Yeah, like you say, there was demand.
It's a different 10 people. It was big demand, yeah. But people didn't want to come to an open site, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, sure.
The floor was uneven as well. We were talking about the older generation. sometimes some of them struggle to walk. So I had a lot of.
He's talking about me.
Oh, sorry. I had a lot of things to think about, and
of course.
I didn't want to rush into it. I wanted to make sure, because at the end, if I'm the one leading it as well, then they're going to ask questions. They'll be like, "Oh, he fell over, and what did you do to stop that?"
Yeah.
Oh, you're in trouble then. Oh, okay. But it's not my place; it's theirs. But
it has to be done right. Yeah.
That's how it goes. Yeah.
Dan just chips in again online saying, and that's why I asked. We were discussing this on Sheds Sans Frontières today when they do a live stream as well. Hashtag Shed Rules. The comment is, there is a bin on the way in for your egos. Enough said. Yeah. Enough said. Yeah, as Dan said.
Yep.
You don't have to say anymore.
Yeah. Cool.
We've all experienced it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So strength to your elbow, Jordan.
Thanks. I need it. I had an operation on my elbow, to be honest.
To give you extra.
It's the reason why I don't work.
Oh, a
It's the
bionic
reason why I
elbow.
don't work.
Okay.
And if the reason why I don't work led me to the start of the Shed project. So there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Good reason.
It leads you to the reason why you'll never work another day in your life. Yeah, it's great. Excellent.
Not a traditional working day anyway.
That's it. No, you find your purpose, and it's not work for you. It's purpose and passion. Love it. Let's take a short interlude. We go and get yourself an ice cream or something like that. Let me just find the right video to play in. So let's take a tea and wee. You can go and ease springs, put the kettle on, do it in that order. Put the kettle on first, ease springs, and then come back and get yourself a brew. Unfathomable, but I sat down in such a hurry today for the Shedcast. I didn't even sit down with a mug, which is just not right. Although the other day, in case of emergency, ask Graham. Source of all wisdom.
I don't think the person that gave it to me meant it.
Yeah, what do they know? It wasn't given to you by the wife, was it? No.
It wouldn't be her.
Because she knows. She knows.
Oh, yes, she knows.
Yeah. Right, let's take a short 5-minute break. Dan just chipping in as we break, saying, solidarity, brother, with Jordan. Yeah. There's a lot of love here for you, Jordan. We can all appreciate the struggles that you've been through. Whilst your struggles are specific to you, they are actually shared. We all understand that it's a pain in the butt sometimes. People, eh? People. Right, let's take a break. We'll see you back here in 5 minutes.
Right, see you in a bit.
Alrighty, here we are back in the motorcycle race. Sorry, tucked myself in. The motorcycle race that is the road outside. And Graham's piling in behind me. Hello. There he is.
Yes, we have motorbikes, of course, in North Yorkshire. They come up for the hills and the dips, and can be fun.
Yeah. Can be fatal as well. Yeah.
When this time, exactly this time of year, you often hear the ambulances and accidents on the road. You get the same thing with car drivers as well, in a sense. So I wouldn't like to blame one sector more than another. But
I was driving a few years ago around sort of Peterborough, coming through. I can't remember what it was, but there's lovely hills and a windy river that runs through, an absolutely beautiful setting. But this windy road that snakes along by the river, in between all the hills, really magical. And there were signs everywhere warning. How do, Bob? We're warning motorcyclists slow down, because clearly it was such a lovely road to blast along that people would blast along and get into all sorts of nasty accidents. So, yeah, very important.
I thought with I've forgotten his name. Jordan.
He's behind you, Bob.
Well, he must be. Yes, I think he's gone for a long cup of tea. But if Bob just shows you one or two walking sticks,
yeah,
would that be a little? You can make a walking stick yourself, Jordan. I'll move on the picture.
Hello, Bob.
Yeah. Well, you bring some walking sticks quickly.
I brought a mixture of
Get in front
sticks
of
with different handles.
Yeah.
Show us what you got. I'm going to change your name. Look at that. I've even changed it to Bob. Look at that. Isn't that clever?
That's wicked.
The,
It looks like a Lego one.
the handle is made from yew,
Ooh.
and the stick itself, I use hazel.
Okay.
Because we're surrounded by hazel in the in all of the North Yorkshire, and there's something like 35 to 40 different colours and patterns. Some of them are brown, some of them are red, some of them are black, some are silver, some are grey, with beautiful patterns on. So it's all the stick makers use hazel.
Okay, that's interesting. And how do you go about joining the two together? Because obviously that's going to be pretty strong.
Yeah, you drill a hole. I drill a hole in the handle, and then I make that fits inside the fits inside the handle.
Okay, gotcha.
That black collar there is a piece of buffalo horn.
Naturally, you get a lot of buffaloes up your way.
Yes, we do.
We don't get many with horns.
That's another different type of handle, which is made from stag horn, and quite easy to make. There isn't the work on it like there is on this one, because I cut the basic shape out and then spend a couple of hours making it look like it looks now. But with these, you just clean them up and fit them onto the stick, and just cap them with I've capped that with a piece of yew. Yep. Sometimes I'll let a coin in on the top and attach that to it, and then there's a little piece of buffalo horn at the end of it. That black piece.
You're just getting carried away, aren't you? Yeah. How long do these take you, Bob?
I like them.
Sorry?
How long do they take you?
How long do they take me?
Yeah.
How long is a piece of string? Depends. Now that is not a crook, but it's almost a shepherd's crook.
Uh-huh.
The shepherd's crook would have a little curl on the end there. But this was made, the handle was made from one of our shedders, and that's made up of all little bits of scrap wood from the work that he does. Is a magician with wood. Uh-huh. And there's 49 pieces of wood in the handle.
Wow.
That's where the colors, you can see all the different colors.
Nice.
And that is a piece of brass with it's like a putty that's let in, which is black.
Okay.
And again, that's hazel. The length of them, there's a specific length. Sorry?
Is this your niche, Bob? Is this your niche?
Yeah, it's become my niche, yeah. There's a different one. That's a cleek.
They look well made.
That's for the shepherd to get round the sheep's legs, or a leg.
Gotcha.
When they're trying to get them in to catch them or whatever.
So
when he's on the pole.
You got loads of sheep up there as well, then.
Sorry?
You got loads of sheep up there with your buffaloes.
We've got a lot of sheep up here, yeah. In fact, behind our shed, it's about a half a mile past the shed in Littlebeck. It's the Littlebeck Chapel.
Gorgeous.
Is the people that look after the hierarchy of the chapel. They're farmers, and they've something like 800 to 1,000 sheep. And so yeah, But they're of no importance to us are the sheep down at the shed. That's another thumbstick.
What's your favourite one, Bob?
My favourite one?
Yeah.
Every one I make.
The ones
Do you make a unique design every time?
Sorry?
Do you uniquely design it every single one? They're unique.
Yeah.
Every single one's unique.
Yeah, they are.
That's wicked, man.
Nice.
I like that.
Yeah, well, all I started doing at the shed was when we started open the first shed was anyone wanting to come along that wanted to make a stick, which is basically I just sort of taught them how to do it or talk them through how to do it. And we've got one guy now who's brilliant. He makes his sticks as good as mine, if not better. And he didn't take much teaching. He was an engineer, so he didn't take much teaching. Very precise in everything he makes. Very precise. Absolutely. There's a stick that has been cut. You can see it's bent. So we have to straighten that. And I use a power gun, a paint stripper gun to heat it up. And then I've got 2 jaws which fit into the vise, concave and convex. That's one of them.
Handed to you.
And the other one,
beautiful assistant there, I noticed. Very nice.
Yes. My name's Debbie.
Yeah.
Can we see your sparkly leotard in it? Oh no, hang on, no, let's not.
That's just lined with it's a piece of lino, which sort of doesn't stop it doesn't make the stick go flat. Actually,
okay,
it's nice and soft, and we just tighten them up in the jaws, and and take the kinks out. Any kinks that's in there, it takes the kinks out.
That must be a slow process.
Yeah, it takes probably in the 10 weeks, or is it 10 weeks or more that we've been in lockdown?
14 weeks.
14 weeks. I've made 30 odd sticks in that time at my home in the shed.
Your sticks?
Sorry.
What do you plan to do?
Sorry, John. What do we do with them?
I sell your sticks. Yeah, you sell them.
Yes. Yeah, I've got a few outlets, retail outlets. Well, and I will have when they open again.
Yeah.
So that's my stick story.
Yeah.
Brilliant, Bob. Thank you.
I can talk about it even longer, but we don't have time. So.
Of course. Well, maybe we'll come back to it.
Yeah, actually, it wouldn't be a bad idea. What Bob's going to probably do is do a Zoom demo for people.
Yeah,
because there's a lot that can be done. I'm quite excited by Zoom and the like.
I'm not a joiner. I wasn't a joiner or anything like that. Never done anything with wood apart from when I was a youngster, which was play cricket. That's the only wood I've ever used. A piece of willow.
Yeah, Bob used to work with young people as a cricket coach. So he's been used to young people. And what was you said to me this morning? What young people? What are the key messages for young people?
What are the key messages for young people? Motivation.
Motivation.
Right.
Yeah, that's something that
encouragement.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bob. I look forward to hearing from you again. Jordan, go ahead.
There is with this Kent network, Shed network, whatever it's called. I'm not very good with names. You could probably find out with that one. So this network thing, we're doing things where a talker would come on, a shedder would come on and talk about their own projects. So
yes,
we had a guy come on and talk about his wooden planes one time.
Cool.
We all got together. We all did a bit of research about meteors one time. Come together, learned all different aspects from. I think there was about 6 of us, that came on that call, and we all had our own little bits of research that we found, and then we all come together and shared it, and then we did some plane talk about wooden planes, and then some trains, the old train set. Not exactly my sort of cup of tea, but it was everyone else's.
Yeah.
But yeah, this talking about your sticks sounds a lot like talking about people's planes and train sets and stuff like that. There's a big demand for it.
Excellent.
We had our stick maker that we have down at the shed, Malcolm. At one stage, we had 3 Malcolms, so we had to give them all names. We had Stick Malcolm, Bird Box Malcolm, and Domino Malcolm.
That's one thing, man. I like it.
That's a glut of Malcolms right there.
Yeah, too many.
Yeah.
It's the wonder of sheds is the humour.
Absolutely,
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That phone call, by the way, that I took halfway through the first half of late in that, wasn't it? Was actually from an old boy whose wife's not very well at all. But just reporting to me that one of the sheds a little bit away from us is opening now.
Okay.
So we're thinking about that. I'm probably communicating with UK MSA just for a bit of guidance, but I think we're getting ready.
Sure. Yeah.
Bob's going, by the way. That was.
Oh, bye, Bob.
I shall have the call from the wife.
He does the cook. He does the cooking.
Man of many talents. Lovely to meet you, Bob.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah.
We'll probably see you speak again, I'm
Take
sure.
care of yourself.
I hope so.
Cheers, Jordan. Good luck with your venture.
See you later.
Yep, cheerio.
Thank you. It should be
Bye.
exciting. See ya.
Excellent. Yeah, thanks for hooking him by crook.
Well, I wasn't sure what might happen. I think if we got a few exhibits in the background,
Anything could happen in the next half hour. Righty. Now, Graham, we've touched on a couple of. Well, I'm just thinking what we should do. Should we whiz expeditiously through the remainder of your pictures?
yes,
To talk about what you've got going with
Very quick,
your youth
yeah.
shed. Let me squeeze that up on screen.
these are in no particular order, Jordan, because I couldn't rearrange them. This actually happened. We had this organisation from the south of England who offered to come up, and they did 2 workshops for us over a fortnight. And this was with a group of young people from a school, secondary school, and they were there for three days, I think it was. They came with staff, just 1 or 2 staff, plus the folk that ran it, volunteer it yourself, and 1 or 2 shedders. And it was a great time. So, yeah, there's Bob, by the way, in the striped shirt there.
Hey, Bob.
And that was Bob. And this is inside a scout hut. So we're using Insights where I live as a scout hut. And so we used that, and they made benches and boxes and things like that. And it was fantastic, boys and girls. And, many of them had never really touched equipment. They were kept, it was non-power really, it was all handsaw stuff, handsaw and hammer and screwdriver type stuff, but they thoroughly enjoyed it, as you can see. Those boxes are
I
still
see
there.
loads of smiley faces. I have to get close. Oh, I can see better now. Yeah, loads of smiley. Everyone's smiling. Everyone's having a good time. There's no fake smiles there. Maybe one.
I don't know about that.
Delightful.
It's lovely to see people enjoy themselves.
That's what it's all about, like connecting, doing something that you've never done before, learning new skills.
We actually had a meal associated. No, this was not that. Sorry. These are all out of order, but these are some of the. What will we do? Oh, this is a shot from the second of the things they did. The Scout Hall in Whitby town itself. We did a garden makeover in a day. with stuff coming from Wicks and all that sort of thing. And these were scouts who did that. And of course, we had to have a lunch, didn't we? So what did we have? Fish and chips from Whitby. So that's what that is. And so again, a bit of friendship, fun. Yeah. See there, we did some pallet breaking. That's why the pallet's in the background. Gosh, kids love that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And these are younger kids, obviously.
Demolition Derby. Lovely.
This was the first of the workshops that we did under Kids Making Good. And this, I thought, what on earth have we done? Because this is glass. This is glass making, doing art, glass art, with pieces of glass, cutting it with cutters, snapping the glass, soldering around it, and basically they made little pendants. And the lady that ran it, I've just bought an item from her. She does lovely glass work. Hey, that's a very interested young person there, as you can see.
I think she's a bit worried about the glass that's about to get broken.
Well, there's glass in the middle. You see, I'm a great believer, I am, in kids taking measured risk. If they don't do that, they never learn. So nobody got hurt. Somebody did get a bit near to a soldering iron, but they won't do it again. Nobody got really hurt, and
so many times.
And it stretched them. I've never done this in my life.
Brilliant.
Going on to the next. Well, there we are. These were squares they cut out of different glasses, and then they're binding the edge. I think that was copper.
Looks like copper. Yeah,
tape.
Copper tape.
And effectively over that, then they put on flux and solder, so it looked like silver edges. They then put pendants on, and as I say, the lady that did it took a lot of those, and they did 2 each. She took one half of them, and she made a couple of nice plaques, which one of our shedders then framed in some nice oak, and one went to an old people's home, and the other to the school here. So that what they've done was exhibited. So brilliant. This was not one. We've made about 4 or 5 of these as a shed for different schools. Mud kitchens and workbenches. But they did actually make 2 of those workbenches on that
excellent
Kids Making Good. Not the Kids Making Good, the original workshops. So we've made quite a lot of these, very popular out of pallet.
Cool. And
go-karts we made. That ran over 3 days in the end. And again, it was just wonderful, just seeing the enthusiasm. The third day...
stay? Where did they stay? Is there a place in the Scouts' hut or something where they could stay?
Well, this was in the Scout Hall, So, but then we painted them at a school. The school where the other young people came from, they let us use their premises and their grass, and the kids actually painted the go-karts, lurid colours, graffiti.
But a big part of
brilliant.
actually with kids is the decoration, which often as adults you don't sort of put such importance on it. I mentioned the Brightworks school and tinkering school that Gay Vitale runs. Very often when kids are working on like go-karts and boats and stuff like that, particularly when they come across a technical problem they can't solve and they need to think about it, they'll often at that point revert to decoration. Even just felt pens on wood, put some decoration, write your name on it, put some go faster stripes as a means to still be working on it. But it's interesting.
I could be like that.
Well, zoom on. Move on.
I've got to zoom out before I zoom on. There we go.
All right.
Clickety click. There we go.
Now, hair braiding, so you can see there was stuff for girls. You don't get many boys doing hair braiding, so this was one for the girls. What we were getting in, by the way, this is the interesting part. Who was doing this? This was people from Whitby town and around who were small businesses, really. So somebody who was involved with hair and decoration and stuff like that actually came and did the workshop, and we charged the kids £3 or something like that. So it was a bit more than that. It's a variable amount depending on what we're doing, to try to cover the costs. But they take it so seriously. I mean, I can smile. They did beauty stuff, makeup, and I can sort of smile at this. but they take it so seriously, and that's brilliant.
Sure. That's excellent.
Move on.
Just skipping back for a second to your stained glass. We've got above our inner door as you come into the Guernsey men's shed. There's what could be a glazed panel. We've pallet boarded over the top of it, but it's always been my intention that at some point we'll get a local glass craft expert up to the shed, and then do like a day's workshop with our shedders to do exactly what your kids have done, but make the stained glass panel to go above our door. We haven't organised it yet, but I'm really looking forward to doing that.
Well, anyway, we've got flags. What's this? This is the youth shed flag. There's one that's slightly different for the kids making good. So we put a banner up so they know where to come.
Nice.
And these are some of the OICs. This was, I had to look up what this was. These were random ones, really. I didn't even know what the pictures were till I saw them here. This, I think, was, what do they call it? Flower crowns. So they made crowns because it looks like false hair to me, but I think it was all interwoven. Lovely. I wasn't there for this, so I didn't see it.
You didn't
Again,
make yourself a flower crown.
Sorry?
You didn't make yourself a flower crown, Graham?
No, I didn't.
No, you should have. I would have suited you.
Anyway, this was again a random one, not particularly good one, but we went to the fire station one day with the kids, and the kids making good, and the fire service put on a beautiful morning for them, different activities. They split them up and they went around, and these were learning knots, but there was also, I think, they were lowering weights. I got one of these hoists, and they were playing around with weights. They did resuscitation with a dummy and all that sort of stuff. The fire service does a lot, actually, to help the community. Better put that plug in.
More TT racing going on in the background, So all of that stuff then led to you setting up a youth shed proper. Brilliant.
Yeah. Well, I'm probably going to disappoint you. What you learn for kids is that younger ones don't really want to be organised.
Yeah.
They have enough of that at school, I think.
Yeah.
And so whereas doing woodwork and that sort of interests me a bit, not all want to do it when you've got a mix of boys and girls and slightly different ages.
Yeah.
So you soon learn that you have to adapt to what they want to do the night they come. So I'd left a ladder out, actually deliberately. I was going to talk about the use of ladders. It was propped up into the apex of the scout hut. Yeah. And in the back of my mind, I thought it'd be nice if one or two of them climbed, and they did. Very carefully. A couple of the girls, went up 2 steps. Oh! But over the course of 2 or 3 weeks, because I left it out, they climbed up higher and higher, and that's what it's about. Was it risky? Not really. I mean, they would have crushed me if they'd fallen off the ladder because I was standing underneath. Yeah. But it's learning this sort of thing, which came naturally when I was a kid, because my dad would do DIY, but these days not everybody does DIY.
Would I be right in saying, Graham, that most of those kids had never climbed a ladder before?
Yes. I mean, 1 or 2 would have done, but because a school can't do it. I mean, I did a lot of work with probation service one stage in my life. I wasn't in probation, but work with offenders, and you know, you couldn't get them to paint a wall. They're not allowed under insurance, national insurance, to go above 3 steps, you know. And so you just, there's so much protection of people so that nobody gets sued, that if you're not careful, you end up not doing anything. And schools have to be so careful, because when they let one kid do it, because all the kids want to do it, one kid might be safe doing it, other kids might not be. And so things get dumbed down, I suppose, so that everybody can join in. But I like to give them a little bit of excitement and risk.
Absolutely.
Not much.
Yeah, managed risk.
Managed risk. So they had to build the this was the, where was this? That's interesting, that. No, that is the Scout Hall, yeah. And they had to Scout Hut Row had to make these units. So we got these from what are they called now? Anyway, national organisation whose name I've forgotten, who got a branch in most towns, and they gave us these new, and because we needed cupboards and units, and again they like to encourage the community, like to encourage children, you know. You'll see that in a minute with B&Q. So we'll move on. This is the sort of thing, you see. I mean, these were random pictures, but they made one of them just decided they'd make out of a cardboard box, they'd make a mask, you know, put over their head. Yeah. But you'll see it's lit, isn't it? Because the person standing there has got one of these headlights on. You know? And the kids loved it. Turn all the lights off. We want to use the headlights. So it's, you know, it's delightful, because you'd never think to do this sort of thing. Yeah. There are 2 or 3 here we were given this pool table, snooker table. Yeah, that's somebody climbing a ladder. Yeah, move on, because you can see they smile and enjoy it.
Excellent.
I don't know what they were doing. This one, they wanted to do a talent show. They wanted to do a talent show, and she was doing, I don't know, dancing and what have you. I just took it at the right time or the wrong time. I don't think it was cartwheels. This was younger than we would normally have, but her mum was there, and she wanted to have a go at pool or snooker or something. Yeah. Another flag. Yeah. We what do they call that? You know, it's bowls and things like that. Yeah, bowling, you know. Yeah. So that was quite popular. We put a screen up for them.
Excellent.
And because whatever we do there is available to the Cubs to use, you know, and the Scouts.
Oh, winner, yeah.
They don't tend to, but, you know, we like to do things that anybody can use.
Nice.
Carry on.
Cool. Yeah. Now, we're changing tack slightly. I was hoping that we'd have, excuse me, Ed with us today, but he wasn't able to join us. So knowing that you know the story, Graham, it's back over to you to tell us about this restorative practice mobile shed, which, as you commented earlier, is related to restorative justice. Are you able to give us a one-liner as to what restorative justice is?
Well, restorative justice. Funnily enough, I was involved in that with adults when they were experimenting. I used to live in High Wycombe, and the facility there was used as a place where some of the early experiments were done on it, and it was very moving to see the results. You're bringing together the victim and the offender, and getting them to face each other and see what happens. You know, it's carefully done. It's not quite as random as that.
I'm aware of
both parties have got to be willing to, but it can be very effective. I mean, I saw a policeman come out of it, very, very moved by what had happened, and he'd seen a whole change of tack in a youngster. I think that was a youngster who just changed their attitude because of it. He came out and thought he nearly walked out after 5 minutes,
Sure,
but
sure.
persisted with it, and if you like, suddenly the message got through. So that's adult restorative justice, and it keeps coming back. And it's like all things, it's not a magic bullet. It will work in some circumstances, but not all. But when it works, it's incredible. Now, this is the equivalent with young people.
Mm-hmm.
So when young people offend, they get, let's say, so many hours work that they have to do, community punishment. And they like it to be a little bit that's a bit of, what do they call it now? It's paying back to the community, really.
Yeah, great.
But also it's restorative. They don't
payback.
Yeah. Sorry?
I think community payback is what they call it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, there's a better term than that, but that's the easy one for me to remember. And
that's the one I call it.
Yeah. What we had was a call from the it's not probation, actually, it's linked to it, Youth Justice, which comes under North Yorkshire County Council. And a friend, actually, her husband, got onto me and said, would you welcome a youngster? Would you help probation? And so I remember us sitting down in Littlebeck 2 years ago, it was just under 2 years ago. And we discussed about a young person coming and making a couple of bird boxes. And I'm game for anything, as I said at the beginning. I think one or two of the shedders there weren't too sure, but I ignored them. And actually, it turned out to be really good. He actually came on a couple of occasions, the lad, one to two of our sheds, different times. And you just saw him, he sort of opened up. And this is the clue, really, that Ed found, because if you get a youngster and they start working on something, they start talking and engaging.
Yeah.
If you sit them at a desk with you in front of them, they'll keep their hood up, and you won't get through. Sure. So it is just as we talk about men working shoulder to shoulder. It's the same sort of principle, really. It brings young people out and begins to challenge their thinking. So this lad made 2 bird boxes. You'll hear the story actually in a minute. One was, but the victim was a builder, retired builder. They said, I don't think this is in what you're seeing, but I don't think there's any harm in saying it. He was so impressed with what happened that this retired builder, who was the victim, actually bought some tools for the lad. So it helped both parties. So this is a kit which they put together in a case there, a Stanley suitcase.
Yep.
So that's their kit. Looks like 2 of everything to me, and it all goes in the boot of a car with a workmate bench.
Brilliant. Yeah. So it's very mobile.
That's got nothing. That's not really to do with me, but it came from
some of the stuff that.
No, I think it came from Ed. I can tell you what this is. Not only built bird boxes, but with other young people, he made these bug houses, and they went in gardens. There's one particular premise near Scarborough, and they did a number of these big ones for them. And again, the youngsters, I think, might have been working at the premises. So, if they came from Ed, that's what they are. Yeah.
Superb. Now, I think our next thing is a video, and we'll get to see Ed, which is nice, but get some of the background to that as well. So let's see if that will run. And just give us a thumbs up in the background.
Children
if you get the audio. If there's no audio, then I'll restart it.
Over 26,000 children and young people were cautioned or given community sentences in the UK between April 2017 and March 2018. That's according to statistics from the Ministry of Justice. And the North Yorkshire Youth Justice Service is wanting to help rehabilitate the young people who may have been given these sentences through their new pop-up shed program.
A pop-up shed is, as it sounds really, it's a basic rudimentary set of tools and a Black & Decker style workbench that can be set up anywhere where we can find an available space, be that inside or outdoors really. The idea initially came from the fantastic work that the Men's Shed Association do. We worked with them last year with a young person, and thanks to their help, we created 2 bird boxes with that young person. And the young person got so much out of it, and the end results were so impressive that we decided we wanted our own workshop. We don't have access to workshop space, so the obvious thing to do was to create one that could go anywhere, really.
The scheme is seen as a good way to help the community.
Everything that the young people make, whether it be planters, bird boxes, insect hotels, whatever really, is ultimately donated to charitable causes or worthy causes within the community.
And for one business, it was important for them to get involved.
I thought it was a really good idea. You know, I get asked for quite a lot of projects and such like, you know, and you know, it was something that just I thought we could make a real difference with. I like the idea of the project. The fact that, you know, it was about kids who maybe just get on the wrong side, and you know, trying to get them back on the straight and narrow, really, teaching them some skills, and you know, it was a really simple idea, but one that will make a big difference, I believe.
The store donated a variety of equipment to help get the project up and running.
It was really important that this project was portable. So in order to be portable, we went for like battery power tools, so they can be charged up beforehand. Went for a folding workbench, and also a toolbox on wheels. And we donated all the tools to go in the toolbox, and make it easy so as the workshop can be basically popped up anywhere. Ongoing, we're continuing to supply waste timber and such like, so to be used, so the materials and screws and things like that. So I would continue to support, and also going and meeting some of these young people, and getting to know them, I think would be really worthwhile.
Why is it so important to give young people the chance to learn these skills?
We think back to when we were young, we all learned things from other people, and a lot of young people today don't get the opportunities to learn rudimentary, basic, practical skills. So we're filling a gap in a way with our young people and teaching them how to do things safely and properly, and helping them with their confidence really by learning these skills.
With the support from 3 local Rotary clubs and businesses alike, it's hoped that the project will be able to grow even more in the not too distant future. Luke Taylor, That's TV.
How superb is that?
Yeah, that was a very good video.
It really is.
My thanks, I just must chip in, my thanks to That's TV North Yorkshire for that video. As it just says top left there, September 8, 2018. So they've been running for a little while, but excellent to see that. Sorry, carry on, Graham.
Now, what I was going to say, and it might move on to perhaps one of the last points, but B&Q did a lot. They really did. But actually, others did. I mean, our own shed gave Ed some tools, donated. A man who used to be a councillor came in one day, the very day that Ed was at our shed, and he went and got money from friends, which he donated. And also we got an order of Anglican sisters, a place called Sneaton Castle in Whitby. And so they wear grey habits and things like that. And one of those is one of our shedders. She doesn't always wear the grey habit. She wears, mufti quite often. So we have a good connection. And the sisters actually gave a little chunk of money as well out of their funds. So, there's the big things of the obvious B&Qs, excellent.
Yep.
but also very often the small people appreciating and doing things as well. And you can't get it all into one video, which is really a national video. I mean, that is the other point I would make. Doing that sort of thing within a service like probation is not easy. And Ed did a very, very good job of nursing it forward. So there were no difficulties, if you know. You know, there are barriers to doing innovative things in big organizations.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So he did very well.
We've been talking a little while ago now to the prison service over here and the ex-offender service, looking at what we can do with them as we get more established. The prison service have a workshop, but one of the things that their workshop leader was telling us is they maybe get young people in for a short period of time, maybe 6 weeks or something. And after about 5 weeks of sort of being, go on, do you want to come in the workshops? Do you want to come in the workshops? No, don't want to come. Do you want to come in the workshops? No. They go into the workshops, make something for possibly the first time. This is brilliant. And they just get a glimpse of how awesome it is to make something with your own hands, get a few skills, and then they're out. And he was saying it's so frustrating because hopefully he won't ever see them again. Often, inevitably, he will see them again. And then you're almost starting from ground zero again and getting them in the workshop. But what he would like to do is to tie in with us and with the ex-offenders charity to be able to place them with us at certain times, properly, correctly supervised, such that they can then carry on making stuff. We're at the other end of the island to town. So it's away from possibly all of those influences that might come with the same crowd or the same places, and send those youngsters up to us and mix them up with our old guys who've been there, done that. I know that some of our guys have got, you know, I would almost say wonderfully colourful or horrendous life stories. Depends on your perspective, but yeah, they have been there. They have done that. And now look at what they're doing with their lives, you know. It's a really powerful message. So yeah, huge potential there. Anything to add, Graham?
I've got something.
Well, I will move on to a point. Oh yeah, carry on, Jordan. Yeah.
Just quickly while we're talking about this mobile stuff, there's a shed project group in Ashford, and a lot of the members there, they want to do a mobile shed project as well. Something more like, instead of coming to the shed project, which is hard for some people, the shed project will come to you. Do a bit of community work around your house, something like that. I'm not too in depth with or too knowledgeable about what's going on exactly, but that's the idea from theirs.
That's cool.
That's what they want to do. I think that's a great idea. I want to get involved in that one. It's not too far from me.
We've been doing something similar in Guernsey for the last 2 years, 2 and a bit, as an outreach project from the men's shed, exactly as you're saying, for people who can't make it to the shed. So I've been going in for a couple of hours a week on a Wednesday morning to a sheltered accommodation place where there's 100 odd adults, and doing all sorts of little and big projects. And I'm hoping in the next few weeks, now that lockdown is lifted, I had a message on, I think it was Monday, to say we can start again with the outreach project. So I'm hoping in a few weeks' time that I'll be able to do a live stream from there and introduce you to the guys and then talk about some of the projects and talk about some of the impact we've had with them. So yeah, heartily recommend it to other sheds to look at ways of outreaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, to all sectors of the community. It's a really powerful thing.
Very rewarding. And it's that all sectors that I want to end my bit, I think, on. Presumably we haven't got much longer. there's been a very exciting project that I know you know about, Marcel, in Frome, in Somerset. It's a project that's run for about 6 years now, which has really brought the town together and shown a lot of caring. The men's shed under Patrick Abrahams has been very instrumental in that. He didn't start the Frome project, but he was there at the beginning. And the shed has had quite an input, and Patrick himself has had quite a lot of input into it. And the whole gist of it really is a town starts to care about each other. Now, it all sounds a bit far-fetched, but I've been there and I've seen it work. Now, why I raise it now is two things. One is a book on that project has just been published. It's called The Compassion Project. You can get it through Amazon at about £15. It's quite a compelling read for me to see how, with a little bit of leadership, it was GP led, what can actually be achieved in a town. It depends on everybody at a grassroots level, doing it. Yeah. And that's the wonderful thing. You can't say it's led from the top. You can't truly say it's all from the bottom. The wonderful thing is the amalgam of mixing of things. The other thing is delight to me is that although not directly copied, modelled from Frome, the same sort of thing is happening in Whitby, where some voluntary organisations are getting together, looking to see how they might collaborate more. It was actually happening before COVID, but of course COVID has educated everybody into what it means to actually be caring and helping each other, just the flexibility, the creativity of small businesses here who, without tourists, could have, they're suffering like anything. But how creative they've been in meeting food demands of locals like me. It's incredible how flexible people have been. And so I think we're almost ready for looking at this. We need to develop new values, really, in society. And sheds is a really good model, I think. When you look at a shed, what goes on, it's fantastic.
Well said, Graham.
Well, I'll get paid, I think, by Patrick sometime. But I'm genuine on this. I'm amazed. For a man of 75 nearly, to see this happening is wonderful to me.
Excellent. That's really cool. Love it. While we were on tea and wee break, Jordan got busy doing the old jazz hands on the keyboard there. Pictures. So Jordan,
some new buttons.
Amazingly clever, isn't it? Let's see if we can jack these in just for a laugh. We haven't got a lot of time, although we're not up against a time limit. But let's see if we can go. This is the garden project. I think the garden.
This is the pond shed that we was doing. This is
shed.
at a nature reserve. So there's some pallets underneath that, the foundations. Underneath the pallets were some concrete slabs, and this is being built over a few months. It wasn't an every day, every week thing, but it was just to come in and work when you wanted to, really. And eventually, it come about. It took about 3 months.
Superb.
This is a shed that was going to be used for storage for all the pond dipping equipment. And at the nature reserve, they did school kids used to come over and a volunteer at the reserve used to teach or tell them how to, search for little pond life. They had all the equipment. So we built this shed for it. So they didn't have to walk a million miles to go get the equipment. It was right there, sort of thing.
Nice. Good one. Really cool.
So the pictures aren't very in order, but yeah, that was all the pictures towards building that shed. I didn't do much of the building at all. I just let everyone else do it.
So then you did an improved model for your grandmother.
Yeah, so I watched everyone else build this little shed, and then I come home, and then I decided to build my own one with some friends. Because of my arm injury, I can't really do a lot of physical stuff. physical elements are very limited for me. So if it wasn't for the help of my friends, I wouldn't have been able to do this. But I love doing it. I really do. I just love building things, anything.
That's awesome. Yeah, and the teamwork and collaboration
is a little title as well.
It's pretty cool. Guardian of the Shed. That whole teamwork and collaboration thing is every bit as important as the finished product. That's really nice. Love it. And I assume and the architect's rendering.
Yeah,
I love it.
It didn't quite come out like that.
It's got a door.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, I didn't know what my grandma ordered, so the walls were erected by a next door neighbour. Actually, I wasn't there. So the outside of the structure of the shed was already built, and what I did was put the insulation in, put the walls in, build the shelves, and done all the colours, aesthetics, or whatever, and then handed it over to my grandma.
Nice one.
Wonderful.
There's a video. I'll send you a link, Marcel, on Facebook.
Okay.
To a YouTube. There's a video of me and Reese building it. The video is sideways, but I couldn't get it straightways.
Slight problem with the motorbikes.
Okay.
Yes, I saw the video. It was long, and as you say, sideways, and I haven't had time to rotate it.
I couldn't figure it out.
Should we skip it?
Yeah. Well, it's up to you. If you want to put it on while we break or something.
We'll all be like this, looking sideways at it. Now, I've got a couple of things I want to just finish today's show with. Because next week, I'm going to obliterate our faces here in a second. Here we go. Next week, in case you don't know, everybody, it is SHEDfest 2020. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday next week, 7th to the 9th of July, from 10 till 3 every day, live on stream like this, because of course we can't all get together. This year, SHEDfest, which I think is in its 5th or 6th year, is going virtual. Another car drive. It's like a racetrack here this afternoon. Sorry about this. So from 10 till 3, there'll be like hour-long sessions during the day. And then 7 till 8 in the evening, there's going to be a Zoom hangout, which is a much more interactive workshop kind of session. I'm really excited about it. And one of the things that I'm most excited about is, I got to meet him just the other day, is this guy, Chris Fisher. If you haven't heard of him, this will be a little introduction to you. I think when I punch this up, Graham, it's going to obliterate you. So my apologies for this. Whatever.
Okay. Take a break.
This is Chris Fisher, the blind wood turner.
Hi everybody, it's Chris Fisher RPT, also known as the Blind Wood Turner, and the patron for Men's Sheds. So what's happening on the 7th to the 9th of July? Well, of course you all know it's SHEDfest 2020. Please join us for an amazing event. I am so looking forward to taking part. Please come along, listen to me talk whilst I'm doing some turning. It's going to be a lot of fun and I can share my story with you, how I got to where I am today. Please, please, please come along. It is going to be brilliant.
I got a chance to meet him yesterday online, was setting up the stream setup in his workshop. He and his wife Nicola have got Ethernet cable out to the garage so they can take the computer in there, and they've got lights so we can see as good an image as we can get. So they're really putting the effort in. I really appreciate that, Chris and Nicola. And it is a cracking sense of humor, and his story is amazing, profound. So have you come across him before, Graham?
Yeah, I think it was last year's SHEDfest down in Worcester. He was there demonstrating, and I went over and I didn't believe he was blind, to be honest. I mean, you know, it's just a guy. You know, I just thought it might have been another act because it was just actually it was incredible.
Yeah,
and as you say, a lovely guy, and lovely family.
So everybody, point your little mouse at menssheds.org.uk/Shedfest 2020. Fedchest. No, it could be worse. And I tinkered with this very briefly last week, if you remember. If you've got your phone handy, you can point your camera at the phone right now. That black and white spludgy thing, that's called a QR code. I don't know what the QR stands for, but who cares? Point your camera. Have you got a mobile phone? Point your camera at that. Off goes Grump. There he goes. Look. And in the camera on your smartphone, it should recognize there's a QR code there. You might need to move in or out a little bit just to adjust it. And that will take you a link on your phone.
It's found it. I think it's found it, and not Jordan, because Jordan seems to be resting on it.
That's part of me now.
I'm going to hit my mobile phone.
And that will take you to the Shedfest page at the menssheds.org.uk website. So the other way of getting to it is ukmsa.org, I think it is. Yeah, look at that. Look. There's a whole thing going on there. There's Patrick Abrams. Oh, bro.
Yeah, I'm Patrick. I'm a shedder. I'll talk a bit more about
shedders.
Oh,
no. I've sent you the wrong QR code.
Excuse me, are you the shed man?
So forget that.
That's the wrong one.
Well, it shows the technology works, but it doesn't show that Marcel works.
Yeah.
Have you come across the acronym PEBCAC? PEBCAC. And it stands for Problem Exists Between Keyboard and Chair. So my apologies. That was the Patrick Abrams TEDx talk. That's when Sheds got introduced to Guernsey 3 and a bit years ago. Wrong QR code. Oh, what a silly fool am I.
I mean, even I could see that the QR code wasn't right.
You're winning empty. And Dan said, yeah, QR code working great. And yes, Mark Croft in the background as on Facebook strapped that link that I'd posted up. Thank you, Mark. So anyone on Facebook can just click on that link. Cool. And Dan also chips in, I hope it's not a hot day for the blind wood turner. It could get all hot in there with all those lights and hamster bedding. Health and safety nightmare. Yes. If you haven't seen some of Chris Fisher's work, look him up, The Blind Wood Turner. You'll find him on YouTube. You'll find his website. Check him out. But then come along next Tuesday to the Shedfest. I'm pretty sure it's Tuesday morning. Let me open the spreadsheet of doom in the background with the master spreadsheet. So Tuesday, shall I just talk you through very quickly what's going on?
Yeah, why not?
Tuesday from 9 a.m. From 10 a.m. My apologies. 10 a.m. Tales from Wales, and that's the Welsh. I've got a problem with my mouth. The Welsh Men's Shed Association staff team. They're going to be talking about shedding in Wales. That's rather cool. Then 11 o'clock on Tuesday is Chris Fisher, the blind wood turner. And then then there's a break over lunch, and then back at 1:30 for unlocking the shed. Now, I know that all sheds up and down the United Kingdom and beyond are all thinking, how do we get out of this lockdown, and how do we get back into our shed? So that's going to be a group discussion to try and work out what needs to be done. And then in the evening on Tuesday from 7 till 8, there's going to be a metalworking workshop or discussion group on Zoom with Jeff Allison from up in the Dalbeattie Men's Shed. He came on the SHEDcast a little while ago, talked about Skioch Car. If you haven't seen it, check that out. So that's Tuesday. Wednesday, meet Peter Sefton at 10 o'clock in the morning. Peter Sefton runs a furniture school. So we're going to be hearing from him what that's all about. Then at 11 o'clock Wednesday, we're again a group session, sort of a panel session on shed leadership, because as everybody knows, there's 50 ways to run a shed, and that's going to be a discussion of how sheds are organised. Jordan, that may be of use to you, on how to establish and run a shed. Some sheds are run at a very flat structure. Everybody's in it together. Some sheds run as perhaps an autocracy, where there's one bloke at the front saying, "This is what we're doing." Now, I'm not sure if one of those is right and one of them is wrong, but there's a spectrum in between. It does. So that'll be a worthwhile thing. That's 11 o'clock on Wednesday. Break for lunch, and then at 1:30 on Wednesday, it'll be re-engaging with your community. So that'll be a rather good one, about sort of the shed outreach stuff that we've been talking about today.
Yeah.
And then at 2:30 on Wednesday, Axminsters, the tool people, are going to be doing a workshop on machine maintenance. So that, I'm sure, will be of interest to a lot of people. And then in the evening on Wednesday, 7 till 8, another Zoom group on wood carving and sculpture. So kind of niche, but kind of special. Let's have a look. Thursday. I wish I had this on a slide. I'm sorry I don't have it on a slide for you, but I'll bang through Thursday as well. Thursday morning, bit of an unusual one to start off. 10 o'clock on Thursday. What is a men's shed? Now, I'm guessing that we all probably know that, but that session is going to be targeted, a panel session, of course, again, but it's going to be targeted to maybe local government and other charitable organisations for people to join us at the Shed Fest virtually, and find out what a men's shed is, because out there in the big wide world, as you all know, there's not enough knowledge of what sheds are. So that session is something that people who you know in local government or other organisations could be pointed to that one and join us for an hour. That's Thursday at 10 till 11. Then what have we got? We've got 11 o'clock on Thursday, Ronseal supporting sheds. Axminster, Triton Tools and Ronseal are partner supporting businesses for Shedfest. And Ronseal are going to do a thing there about how they're supporting sheds. Rather cool stuff. I've seen a couple of video clips squirreling around in the background, so that'll be worth watching. Then we've got a session at 12 o'clock on Thursday, generating the income without the effort. And that's by Roisin Lyons. And I can't tell you much, apart from the fact she comes from an organisation that's called Easy Fundraising. That sounds good, doesn't it? I'm sure all sheds could do with a bit more funding. So Thursday at 12. That's worth seeing. Then that's sort of like the formal end of things, but in the evening on Thursday, 7 till 8 again, the Aldridge Shed are going to be talking about musical instruments, because they've got a whole crowd of guys who make musical instruments, so they're going to be sharing that stuff. So if there's not something there to tickle your fancy, I don't know, get back in the box. I don't know, what can I say?
Go to a shed instead.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, very exciting. The best thing you can do, the best thing you can do, is go to the website, men'ssheds.org.uk/Shedfest-2020. And even on the front of the Men's Sheds website, there's a link through to Shedfest, of course. And I heartily recommend you go check that out, because there's something for everybody. As you can tell, I'm excited about it. I'm really privileged to be involved in the back-end production on the streaming front. So really excited. So be there, or be square. I think it's what they say.
Exactly.
I'm down with the kids.
Yeah.
In the 80s.
That's before my time.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. Yeah, Jordan, any last comments?
Don't think so. I'm just going to say though, it's been a pleasure being on this myself. So thanks for inviting me. Graham, it's great to meet you as well. And Bob, his sticks are really cool. I like them. I mean, what's the word?
Oh.
Those sticks were made with such pureness. I'm not sure what the word is, but you know, I think you get me. Mark and Dan, I want to thank for your comments as well. I like them. Appreciate that stuff.
That's cool.
Bob only shows the sticks that are nice. I mean, he's got lots of failures on the floor.
Oh yeah, sounds like me. All right. I do have one last thing to say as well. Now that I've thought about it, shed projects, younger people, get involved, man. What are you doing? Wasting your time. You're wasting your time. Just get involved in the shed project. Lead it if you want. It's not hard. Just gotta have confidence and willingness to do it. Everyone wants to chill. Everyone wants to do stuff together. So, you know, just get together, find a spot. You won't find it hard to find a premise because there's someone out there who wants a shed project at their premise. 100%. It's not gonna be hard to find it. So if you're young and you desire to run a shed project, it's easy. Honestly, it really is. Just find a location and people will come to you.
Right on.
So that's my last thing to say, I think.
That's cool. Thank you, Jordan. Thanks very much. It's been a real pleasure to have you on the show. I was really pleased to meet you last week and glad that we could get this organised for today. And sorry about all the media issues in the background, but we got there. You know,
no, that is cool.
By hook or by
that's typical.
We did it, Jordan, despite him.
That's true.
Yeah, we managed to do it. We managed to get our pictures up somehow. Yeah, so
awesome.
We're not as useless as we may think.
Not as bad as we look. Graham, any parting salvos?
No, not really. I'm about to have Horlicks and go to bed, I think.
Oh, lovely.
No, but this has been absolutely fascinating for me. I mean that. Jordan, it's been a real delight to come across you. And really what you're trying to do is what we need. And not just for sheds. In many areas, we need people to pick up the cudgels and get on with things. You know, don't wait for others to do it. Get engaged and make things happen. And you are inspirational. So you're welcome up here. We'll let you in if you come. If you knock on the door, you can come across the moor.
I've been to Guernsey once before with the Scouts.
Hey, what do you know?
Yeah, we did fundraising at Tesco's, packing bags, and then we managed to, get to Guernsey. I think I was about 13, 14. That was wicked, man. Honestly.
Cool. Well,
Jordan is an inspiration.
And
thanks, Dan.
Yeah, thank you, Dan.
Where are you from, Dan? Because if you're at one of these sheds, I'll probably meet you one day too.
He is. Where's he from?
I don't know.
Oh no! I've been through this so many times with Dan.
It's in the south.
Oh, that's dismal, isn't it? I keep
somewhere in the south.
And I wrote it down.
I've got a lot of family down there.
Come on,
I plan to
move to Isle
of Wight and start a shed project up there. So
is it
that's my future plans.
Not Shrewsbury, Shoebury or Newbury or let's end the stream before I. Oh, oh, he's gonna slap me when he sees me. Oh.
People watch this, you know.
Gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. Yes, I heartily echo Dan and Graham's comments. Jordan, I wish you strength to your elbow. Let's keep in touch. I hope you can meet up with some passionate, like-minded individuals, because I think that's what you need.
I'm not.
Westbury.
Westbury.
Thanks, Dan.
Westbury.
Thank you.
Yeah, these people will come at the right time, at the right moment. I know that much. I'm not worried. It will come to me.
Yep.
It'll just be there. It's just all going to work out. I know that much. I have faith. So
yeah,
I don't feel like it's not going to happen.
Awesome.
So yeah, thanks for your comments, man. That really does help me a lot. I might not be able to show it in my face, but you know.
It's cool. It's hiding behind the beard, I know.
Get that. Yeah, this is it. I ought to have been wearing one of these face masks, didn't I? Really? I mean, you're wearing beards, and you know.
Yeah. I like doing
Oh yeah.
I don't need a face mask.
Oh. I've got all that to look forward to.
Yeah. You know.
About as much. That'll do
You
for
can have a beard like this when you're older. That's great. Yeah, and Graham.
I have to shave every day. If I don't shave, I'm miserable.
If
I shaved, I would be miserable.
Yeah, and that's the rich tapestry of life, isn't it? Alrighty. In Guernsey, we don't say goodbye. We say à la prochaine, because that means until next time.
À la prochaine.
Yeah.
À la prochaine.
À la prochaine.
À la prochaine.
Which is a corruption of the French. It's the Guernsey patois. So
prochain next time, isn't it? Prochain, yeah.
That's right.
Schoolboy French.
Right, guys.
Coming
lovely. And I'll be seeing you guys soon.
See you at SHEDfest.
So stay safe.
And on. Take care.
Yeah. See you guys.
Cheerio.
See ya.